Welcome to Meet the Candidate. I'm Chris Clark, President and CEO of the Queen Creek Chamber of Commerce, and today we're joined by candidate for District 1 for the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, Joel Navarro. Joel, welcome.
Chris,
Thanks for coming out to see us.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate the time.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Joel.
Yeah, in short, born and raised in Arizona, fourth generation Arizonan, actually born and raised in Tempe, Arizona. So just kind of knew my community, knew the East Valley very well. Growing up, played football and other sports at Marcos Niza High School, but had a lot of relationships at that level back in the mid-'80s that I've built on since that point, and really kind of know the area extremely well and our county very well. Over the course of years, I've been volunteering throughout our community in various things, from when I was a kid being an Eagle Scout all the way up to chairing the MAG, Human Services and Community Initiative Committee presently today. But I've been committee chairs on a variety of different levels, from public safety to Hispanic local officials to other City of Tempe committees with education, with businesses and whatnot. But throughout my course of years working within the Phoenix Fire Department, over 29 years, or going on 29 years. As a middle manager, I'm a deputy chief over Sky Harbor Airport, but I've been in a variety of other areas within the fire department, just at that level. Really got a good sense of the partnerships that we have with the state, with the county. And especially going through COVID, we were actually instrumental in providing a variety of different resources as we do logistics quite a bit. And actually, at the time I was over resource and logistics. So that was a real opening experience on where our real touches are throughout the county. But on top of that, 16 years as a council member for the City of Tempe. My term does end here in July. I did not rerun, obviously, as I look forward to the county race coming up. But through that course of my time at the City of Tempe, it's been development. It's been just how we've expanded our cities, our downtowns, but yet how we preserve our neighborhoods also. I think that we developed a place that a lot of people in the community enjoy, and instrumentally it's working with the chambers. It's making sure that we have those opportunities and fulfilling those partnerships when it comes to what we're developing and how we're developing, and how does that affect the business community, and really going forward from there. So a good 16 years of doing that. Everything is still going gangbusters, not only in Tempe, but everywhere in the county, as this is one of the best counties in the United States in terms of our development and basically attracting a lot of people into the valley.
So 16 years on council in Tempe, so congratulations on that. But so you've been there since 2008. Mm-hmm. So I think we can all say that Tempe has been through some tremendous changes over that time period.
Right.
How do you view that, and what do you think the greatest success was, but also how did you manage that growth, and do you think it's headed in the right direction as it becomes a lot taller and more dense?
Yeah, absolutely. When I first got on council, 2008 was that downturn of the economy, so to speak, and that was quite of a learning lesson. We actually had to cut resources and really be strategic about where we put our money as a city. From that point, we actually got out of that 2008 era, so to speak, and we really started to see how we can translate the downtown area. And obviously, yes, with Tempe being landlocked, the only way we could do is going up. So we really had to take on a lot of initiatives with the community. We had to have a lot of partnerships, like I said, not only with the community, but with the chambers, with other third parties that have relationships with the city, developers and whatnot, and really just kind of talk about how we're going about the growth of our city. We have at the time, we had our 2030 plan, 2040 plan, now our 2050 plan. All of them got approved in terms of how we do our density, where that density is at. And then also really just working with our residents on what they like to see within our community. I always told everyone that I've been about pro business, pro growth, pro development, and they know where I lie. I'm probably one of the people on the council that was not shy of height, depending on where that height is at. Obviously we want to protect our communities, protect our neighborhoods, because there's a unique distinction between the downtown and the residents of the majority of the residents within Tempe, within the housing community. So we wanted to make sure that we're doing things strategically. We also learned from not only the concentration that we're doing in downtown Tempe, but some of the things that South Tempe would enjoy, and trying to be strategic in bringing in other industries, other businesses within those areas that they would enjoy to see. One of our success was bringing a Postino's to what used to be an old Circle K on a corner of Warner and Rural Road, which has been a tremendous success, not only for the Postino's, but for the actual strip mall there, where now the residents are really wanting the open lot next to it to have some of that same vibe. It's a little small boutique-y, but at the same time, it kind of serves the needs of what those residents want. So, over the course of the years, I think having just those as examples, there's been just so many opportunities to really learn, do's and don'ts, kind of how we make these things happen, but yet how do we communicate with our partners to make sure that we're listening to them? Because sometimes we could be on two sides of issues, but when we get sitting in the, down in the conference room and talk about these things and how these things would spin off, maybe it comes away with just a neutral vibe or a successful vibe. But at the end of the day, those conversations have to happen to make sure that the growth and the opportunity of what the city is all about and working with all our partners. Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned managing a lot of growth there,
right.
And you mentioned our county and that we do have a great county. It is one of the largest counties geographically
Yep.
and population-wise
Correct.
in the country. And so knowing that it's been successful and how it's going, what do you propose doing differently when you're there? Mm-hmm. And how do you see the growth continuing in Maricopa County?
Right. No, we still see it. The growth is going to come. Obviously we have a housing shortage, not just only on affordability, but every housing stock across the county. We need to make sure that also with water restrictions or actually limitations with water, we need to make sure that we're being smart with our water and our growth at the same time. I know the governor has a plan with 100-year type of developments, making sure that there's enough within their communities or developments that they're planning on developing, making sure there's enough water for at least 100 years, and working with when we talk about land management, the water rights, and all the other states, absorbing some of that Colorado River, we want to make sure that we're doing our tactics appropriately, that we can make sure that we're doing enough for not only our county but for Arizonians. That is very strategic with a state that's a desert, and we do need to make sure that resource is going to be there, not only for us, but for our kids and their kids going forward. But I think the opportunity also lends to, working with the cities. As a county official, you really do have to work with the cities. You have to make sure that as Queen Creek is developing, which is huge for the economy over here and the success for you guys, that those resources or path-throughs actually can serve those counties. I'll use Tempe for example. We received an affordable housing pass-through through the county over $10 million. Knowing that, obviously our workers, not only for our hotel industries, but any other industries, there needs some affordability element because we want those workers close by to where they work and live. And that's the same for every city. I think those opportunities of making sure that pass-through monies to help affordability or to help any housing is strategic. As a county official, it's also working with relationships not only within the state, but outside the state and in the world. When we see Intel and the Taiwanese chip manufacturing and the success that's going to bring not only here to the region, but also to the United States, those are partnerships with the county, with the state, that need to be embraced because those partnerships translate, as those bigger developments translates into the industry that the chamber's into. It's the small business people, the mom and pop stores, bringing in those dollars and having that opportunity to create that vibe. What an opportunity Queen Creek has here with the development they're having now, but what a downtown area. As I'm driving through, the city put effort into the streetscape and into making sure that the appearance looks well. That attracts other development and other opportunities for growth. And I think when I see those things, it's going to be mirroring the same thing in the county, is making sure that we're lessening those restrictions, making sure we're business friendly, and making sure we can give that opportunity to not only within the county and county land, but also with the cities and the success of supporting the cities.
You mentioned you work with MAG now, Maricopa Association of Governments.
Right.
And so MAG plays a huge role in transportation. And District 1 encompasses Queen Creek, Gilbert, Chandler, Ahwatukee, Tempe. And so transportation is a big part of that area.
Right.
We don't have enough.
Right.
Not enough lane miles, not enough anything, and a whole lot of people and a lot more coming. So how do you see that playing out? What do you think you can do as a county supervisor to alleviate that?
Yep. So, we're the entity that works with the city, works with the state. When we talk about propositions that support transportation, those are things that we need to get behind. Also to make sure that the whatever the county is in charge of in terms of transportation, those things are enhanced and actually done better. The whole entire infrastructure of transportation needs to be maintained, which is a cost. But that cost actually helps provide the services that we need for business. When I talked about affordability, when I talk about transportation, that people have to use the buses or use the light rail or whatever that is, having that opportunity or being near those lines is a huge success for not only the people that are working, but for the businesses that require those people to work at those places. So you want to make those transportation opportunities as streamlined as possible. I know that we talked about the infrastructure of extending maybe the light rail or even a streetcar. Those things do take time, but there are tools in the toolbox, not only from the federal government on receiving that money, but also from development that actually want to be in that area. When they see that you have a streetcar or some sort of line that is near their street or on their street, that is an incentive to them to be part of that development. So it's a negotiation that cities can use in terms of trying to grab money from developers to help support those entities as they develop and actually they bring more jobs and more workers within the industry. Those transportation needs or those transportation connections actually serve that project well. So it's continuing the conversation of transportation, but it's also utilizing tools that I've used within the city of Tempe to help make those transportational needs possible and in a shorter time. I know that we talk about regional things, so the commuter rail is one thing that's coming up when we talk about that connectivity. Obviously, the Tucson, the Phoenix to Las Vegas, but there's still some stops in between there where strategically, when you think about that coming in from Tucson, you think about the cities of Queen Creek, Gilbert, Chandler, and where those stops could be as you go into Phoenix and where else after that. Having those key stops actually brings in other components of accessibility to those places. Not only just getting in your car and driving, but utilizing something where you can just get to X, Y, and Z and still do some work on the same, on that train or wherever you're at. So there's opportunities in those things. So I think we still need to definitely have those discussions. But as I've seen success, especially success that we've seen in Tempe, those are things I understand and embrace. And I know that strategically, it's a smart decision to help everybody within the community.
How do you see yourself differing from the other candidates, and why specifically did you want to move from the Tempe Council that you've been at for 16 years to the County Board of Supervisors?
Yeah, no, I think when I saw the opportunity and looking at what I've done and achieved in Tempe, I just felt it was time. It was time to step onto a new challenge. I know that it's a partisan race, which at the end of the day, I representing the county, representing the people of the county is what I'm all about, making sure that we're making smart decisions, logical decisions, and decisions that have actually impacts within our community that bring the success up, not to bring the success down. So I took it as an opportunity with my years of experience on Tempe Council, but not only that, my years of experience in public safety. Because when we talk about the county as a whole, we have to bring up public safety, public health, all these other issues that are coming up that I have personally dealt with within my role as a firefighter and now presently as a deputy chief with the Phoenix Fire Department. So I think that with my background, my experience, lends me to really be a candidate to consider. I know that the other two candidates have their own race and they do their own things. Jack Sellers has been a great candidate within the county, but at the same time, when you put your efforts in, there's always, kind of like me, when I step away from city of Tempe, it now provides another perspective from another candidate to come in, just kind of see, are we doing it and are we doing it right? Same thing for me going into the county, with my perspective of what I've worked on, not only on the local level, but regionally. When I talk about opioids and drug addiction, I've been one of the leaders in that area in awareness and education and bringing programs not only for within the county but within the state. The AIA has a athletics. Whenever you watch or have your kid do a sport, you have to watch a concussion video. Now you have to watch an opioid video. That is part of a project I started in Tempe, and it took off throughout the state. So these things are successful, examples of what I've done within my portfolio of time and experience within Tempe. But I think those successes translate within the county. And like I said, it's an opportunity to really bring in different views of thoughts, different relationships and connections as we go forward. I don't know, specifically what Mark Stewart has said or brains, and I can't speak for Mark. All I can do is speak for myself. And what I think is strategic about the county, and being born and raised here, not only just in my lifetime, but have family members within the valley that have been here, and just knowing that history, knowing that experience, and knowing where Arizona is at, and also know the players within the state and what our community thinks. I think I have a good grasp of that. I want to kind of set forth to make our county as successful as possible. I think there's some issues out there in terms of mismanagement of funds. We talked about the supervisor's office. I know that the assessor has some issues with overtaxing certain districts around the county. When you do that, now you have to pay that money back, obviously, but who pays it back? Now you're looking at fire districts. Now you're looking at school districts, taking that money away, which is going to impact those areas. So we have to make smarter decisions, and I hope that with my background in having an oversight of this stuff, that I can ask these questions. I can challenge these department heads and leaders within those areas to make wiser decisions and to make sure that our money is being used wisely. I mean, when I was in the pandemic things and trying to find supplies of masks and gloves and things like that, I found the shortfalls within the county, within the state. They didn't have much of anything. We were actually, as a Phoenix Fire Department, leading the way in providing those resources for the state and for the county. So I think there's a lot of opportunity that, just with my background, that we can make this county a lot more successful going forward. And all I am is just a different person that's going to provide that vibe, and hopefully people can get behind that.
Anything that we haven't touched on, Joel, that you want to cover? And where can people get more information about you?
Yeah. First off, once again, Joel Navarro, running for Maricopa County Board of Supervisors. You can get more information about me on joelnavarroforsupervisor.com. And on that site, you can also read about me just a little bit more. We are a campaign that's starting up. Obviously, with campaigns, it takes volunteers, help, and funding to run this race. And so I look forward to people if they have an interest in me and want to read more about my background, to do so. I believe that we're heading in the right direction with a lot of momentum, and I don't have a primary, although I have to run the primary race. I will be in the general when the primary is done. So just working my way up to that point. At the end of the day, I stand on a variety of things. There's so many things out there that are so important, but the things that are near to me are public safety, making sure our development, and we're doing smart development, sustainable development, but also making sure that our education is top priority also. In addition to that, we're making sure that the infrastructure throughout the state, those are problems that we have to deal with, and make sure that we're putting the resources there, because as we grow, we need to make sure that the system grows with it. But education, my mom's been a teacher for 40 years. I actually have a degree in education as a secondary educator. But I know the successes what education can bring not only to a region and community, but to the whole state. When you start at a young age, we've shown this in Tempe, a pre-K program that was developed by the city, and that takes on students that have parents with certain incomes that can't afford it. We'll provide the pre-K for free, and it tiers up to people that have the affordability to pay for the whole pre-K. Pre-K has been extremely important, and we've been tracking this not only in the development of the kid and its success, but the development of starting at early childhood education. You see the success of those students achieving, and when they don't drop out and they continue school, they don't get into other issues that cause homelessness, public safety issues, a whole gamut of things. That is a tremendous success when we talk about things that we see within our community. So I think programs like that and making sure that we're doing a quality pre-K program is virtually successful not only in the community I started in, but in the county. I think that is something that we can achieve, and I look forward to potentially, or not potentially, but to do that. I think that's going to be a real success for us all. So with all that said, there's so much stuff out there, and the opportunity working with all the chambers in the community, that has been part of my platform ever since I was on the city council. So I want to continue that. I want to continue those relationships, and I look forward to the future and all the great successes that we hopefully have down the road.
Well, we appreciate that, Joel. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I know you don't have a primary challenger, so we'll see you in the general election in November.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.